Oh, what's up? How's everybody doing out there? Whether you're watching in Arizona or you're watching in the East Coast or you're watching in China or Africa, thank you for being here. You are tuned in to the Non-Corporate Network. Dustin, you want to tell them a little bit about what the Non-Corporate Network even is?
Yeah, Non-Corporate Network. It's a channel that we've come out with that delivers business content from entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs. So the main goal of this, this show right here is fill in the blank. Over time, we're going to be bringing on more shows that are all dedicated to business content, whether it's just business news, marketing news, how-tos in marketing, but basically just a whole suite of different TV shows that are dedicated to entrepreneurs that isn't really a couple of people that are, above 50, 60 years old. Nothing bad there, but I think it's just a way to deliver news in the modern day society. How was
Couldn't
that?
have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Chaz.
this is really about just helping make this type of news a little bit more consumable. You don't have to go watch CNBC. You can check us out. But Fill in the Blank is a show where we debate the 6 hottest topics in small business news each Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we spend 3 minutes on each topic, and we kind of give our viewpoints, talk about the stories that we found, and yeah, we're excited. It's Friday. It's Blur's Day.
I thought you were going to say that. Blur's Day, because all the days are blurred.
Oh, gosh. No, that's the worst dad joke. But yeah, without further ado, if you're ready, let's just dive into our first story. Okay, so first story, reported by American Express. They conducted a few surveys and found that one of the keys to reopening businesses is contactless checkout. Obviously people are worried about going back to restaurants, going back to businesses. Main thing is I don't want to be touching everything that everybody else touched before me. And so contactless ways to check out where you're not having to touch things, and then maybe you're not even having to go into the store, can definitely help us to start generating some more commerce. What are your thoughts on the story? Anything exciting or that jumped out to you?
Yeah, it is about time, America. It is, it blows my mind. I go to Fry's, do shopping during all this, and it's like you got people wearing masks, but everyone is on the same pin pad, hitting the same thing. So literally we're just spreading things around. But even then, it is so nice whenever I could just go somewhere, and I know it sounds very first world ish, but just be able to use my watch, tap it on the POS system, and the transaction is made. It's I think one thing that it's really great about, and I didn't know this until recently, but if you use things like Apple Pay or Tap to Go and stuff like that, it actually creates like a one-time card number. So if their system gets hacked, they're not taking your financial data. And I think the biggest hurdle is Americans have really thought that it's a security breach, or just they're not as secure, when in fact they're more secure. And so I think the biggest downfall that has stunted the growth is just the education side, that it's more secure, it's ease of use, and then it'll get merchants to actually do it more. I don't know what the back end looks like in terms of merchant fees and all that, but what are your thoughts on everything?
Dustin, it's going to take a fire getting lit under our asses in order to make this happen, to be honest with you. Looking at this, people are not wanting to go and give their credit or their bank account information to another app. People are comfortable. We've been using credit cards, debit cards for the longest, since I've been around at least. And so it's definitely something that is going to take a lot of not only education, but really just incentives, I think. If they're starting to say, hey, the credit card processing fee is forwarded onto you if you want to use it, but you can keep using it, then, that's one way. I'm looking at the stats here, and American Express reported that 58% of consumers who have used contactless payments say they're more likely to use contact payments now. And 16% less cash is being used at restaurants and in-person places, and 15% of customers who say they're likely to use or insert a swipe a card has also gone down by 15%. So I'm not really sure how people are paying for things if we're not willing to use cash or cards now. But, it really is going to take, I think, an incentive to get people to actually adopt this.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, most people have an Apple or Android phone. You have Google
True.
Pay, you have Apple Pay. It's very easy. I think, to your point, incentivize the merchants. Let the merchants pass on that savings to consumers. You'll get more people actually using it. So let's make it happen.
Well said. Well said. I think oh, no, I have the next story. Facebook is coming out with messenger rooms in response to the virality of, Zoom hangouts and Zoom happy hours. We're starting to see that it's not just people that are using this for business that are getting on Zoom or getting on Google Hangouts. There's other reasons. We've seen a lot of the apps like Hangouts, or there's another app out there, I forget the name of it, but group chat or something, where you can get in with a bunch of people in video chat. And so Messenger obviously trying to capture some of that attention, keep people on Facebook. Obviously, they also have a hardware that they're integrating with this, the Portal software or hardware. If you guys haven't seen, it's like essentially laptops and TV screens that are owned by Facebook. And so they're trying to kind of make Facebook synonymous with video chat, which is something that hasn't really been a thing before. Dustin, what do you think are going to be the repercussions of this? And do you think this is going to be something that gets adopted?
I mean, Chad, it sounds like you're excited about it, which I am absolutely surprised, because you're usually for the people. This, I mean, it's stay in your lane, Facebook. I mean, how many times do we hear it? There are memes made about it where I said something to a friend and my phone was around and now I start seeing ads. That's your phone by you. They're really pushing this hardware to be in your house. Now they're going to be able to see you and leverage that to then collect more data and see and serve ads to you. As a marketer, love it, but I'm all for them. Find your lane, stay in it, let others kind of innovate in this space. So for once, I'm actually for the people on this one, and calm down, Facebook, on that.
Messenger has more than 700 million accounts that participate in calls every day. And they own WhatsApp as well, which is a huge international source for calling and video calling. And so I think they've really seen the opportunity that, hey, if you're going to use our software to call, might as well start using our hardware too. And I think that this is really more in emerging markets where these things are going to be more prevalent than here. I think here there's already too deep a penetration with companies like Google and Apple for them to really be able to get a strong stake. But, hey, my thing is, give us all your data and watch us on video, but you're going to look good on video because we're going to automatically adjust the brightness. And when you stand up in the kitchen, it's going to follow you around. So why not give up your data for something like that, Dustin? Why not?
That's why everyone gives up their data, is to have a seamless experience. I think where there's opportunity is a company coming in and doing like a Roku type of thing where there's the device there and you can hook into Messenger or Google Hangouts or Zoom, and it's just kind of universal for many different not video streaming, but video communication tools. I think that's where there's going to be some success. I think, I don't know, people are just a little bit wary of more Facebook devices getting into their life.
Make some freaking rules before you unroll anything. How about that? Make some rules.
How about that? Well, on to our next one. So there's a company called AdLingo that Google has been incubating, and essentially it's changing the game of display banner ads. Traditionally you see those ads that are on the side of websites. You click and go over to a website. What this new ad unit does is it actually creates instant chat functionality within the ad. So Purple, the mattress company, has tested it out. Essentially, whenever you click on the ad, it opens up chat functionality. And what they've done is they ask questions like, what is your daily activity? How's your sleep pattern? And all that. And based off of how you're answering, they recommend different mattresses. They're seeing that people are actually engaging for over a minute and a half, which is an extremely long time in today's society when you have a 5-second attention span. So I absolutely love this. I'm always for how can we do less disrupting of content consumption on the consumer side, but also deliver value from a brand perspective as a marketer. And so I love it. I can't wait to see where this goes. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, banner ads put a bad taste in your mouth just when you say banner ads. That's such a negative denotation to it. And so it's like, I think that, this is a way for them to kind of combat this, spammy, get off my screen, I'm trying to do something type of feeling when you have an ad served to you. But live chat is notoriously crap in terms of the response rates. So I'm not necessarily thinking that live chat is going to solve the problem because you've got some call center in India trying to field questions that Americans have. Like, I've never really subscribed to live chat really helping solve my problem. But I do think that, chat bots, and if they do put some time into maybe integrating live chat a little bit more, I think from a business perspective, it can be more valuable. You look at something like Intercom or ManyChat or an integration like that, maybe with the CRM. Now it starts to become a lot more valuable because that data that you're pulling out of somebody through an ad is now you're not only going to pixel them and continue to retarget them based on what they said, but you're also going to be able to integrate that into the CRM, keep them as a contact, trigger some other marketing stuff. So that's the thing people don't really wrap their head around when they think about marketing is that, this is a siloed event that I have where I communicate on chat and that's it. No, as soon as you say one thing, you're going to get followed around till you die, buy, or unsubscribe. And so it's like, I think that, thinking about it that way, the more that can be integrated into this technology, which if Google's incubating it, I'm sure it'll be pretty robust, that's going to be a game changer for sure from an ad perspective and funneling that into sales.
Yes, I mean, they do have a chatbot functionality, but it's proprietary. And to your point, I think where this will really take off is if they can integrate into other chat bot or chat automation companies where you're already tied into your CRM and other things. I mean, there are too many tools out there as a marketer, and it's just like, well, I have another one. Make it to where it's integratable to other solutions. So I'm excited to see what happens there. And on to our next story. So Tesla, they've been in the news a lot lately. Basically, Elon Musk is forcing people to come back to the factory and work, even if people don't want to or don't feel it's safe. And I mean, in my perspective, the economy needs to tick, and he's not dumb. He's probably taking safety precautions. I mean, he knows that if everyone gets sick and can't go into work, there's no production happening. And so, I mean, to me, we live in America. It's your choice. If you don't feel safe and don't want to go, there are other jobs out there that you could do and make money. But, I mean, I know we were talking before this, and you might have some more insight. I mean, he was just talking on Joe Rogan about we just need to get things going. I mean, there's only so much money you can print. There's only so much that you can do before you have an entire country collapse. And I mean, famine, homelessness, and all that is so much worse than what's going on. It's going to cause so many more deaths. So I am for this. What about you, Chaz?
Yeah, well, I'm always about let's set the field of play before we go out and play ball. And so I look at this as something where, again, we need to figure out what the rules are and what the processes that need to be put in place to protect the workers, to make sure that we're setting a precedent that is going to be followed through and is not going to make things worse. I mean, I know I'm from Atlanta, and Georgia opened up everything a little prematurely before anyone else, and after a day, their cases of COVID spiked 1,000, 1,500 new cases in one day. And it's like, okay, this isn't, we're not out of the woods yet. And so I think there needs to be some processes in place to protect workers, especially in a product line where you're going through and touching things. We don't know how this is transmitted. Like, I mean, if there's a way that it can get into the interior of the car as they're going off the lot, like that could be a much worse problem for Tesla than not making parts. But, I also agree with you. I mean, I watched the Joe Rogan, and we know how smart Elon Musk is. And he's dumbing it down to the very, very base level and going, we need stuff. Stuff has to be made and distributed and bought. And if there's no stuff, if there's nothing being produced, whether it's food, whether it's cars, whether it's anything, then we're going to come to a screeching halt, and things are going to just become worse and worse. And so, I think we don't really think about the food and things like that as being related to Tesla. But thank you, Elon, I guess, for paving the path for other CEOs to really put their foot down and go, let's get back. Like, whatever we have to do, we're getting back.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the approach and the process. I mean, obviously, don't go back and, hey, let's go back, not take any precautions. But I think there's a way to get back into it. I mean, I think one of the bad things is a lot of people think America's invincible. I mean, we're very infant compared to the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire, did collapse and fall. And so no one is invincible. And I think the longer we prolong this, the greater chance there is for greater repercussions. So hats off to you, Elon.
Touche.
So on to our next one, TikTok, another one that keeps coming up. So there are a couple privacy groups. There are 20 that investigated, what they're doing, how they're targeting and collecting data, and they're just breaking a ton of child protection laws in terms of collecting data, how they're advertising to them. I mean, it's no surprise they're not in this country or headquartered in this country, and so it's I don't know. It's one of those things where people just need to wake up and maybe not be so bullish on TikTok. I mean, it's not good whenever you abuse children, whether it's their data or how you're speaking to them. But I mean, we have these laws in place for a reason, and it's just sad that they're willing to take the fine. They know that the fine is that it's cheap compared to what they're going to yield by doing the marketing and all that type of stuff. I mean, what are your thoughts, or what's your take on TikTok?
People are earlier and earlier getting onto social media, and these are the most impressionable people on planet Earth. We're talking about 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds that are getting on social media and getting on TikTok, and they're being served ads that are in curated content based on them as a persona. And I think that it's just absolutely ridiculous that we're just now getting to a point where we're talking about this. It's obvious, and Tencent runs TikTok. They own this data. I think it's just a huge risk. But, one thing that really kind of fires me up is that, I was reading a story the other day that, they have endless money to spend and endless money on PR. They're never going to let stories like this get too deep and penetrate too much of the media. And, I'm seeing stories that are like TikTok to create a trend and not allow for people under the age of 15 to have the direct message function. It's like, well, one, you have no way of verifying that people are under 15. It's going to say they're 16 and then they're going to have it. And two, it took them being sued multiple times to do this. Not even once, multiple by 20 different parties. It's like that is absolute bullshit to me, because it's like, why is it having to take you getting sued to set a precedence, and then you have enough money to make yourself into the hero even though you're the one that's breaking the rules? I think it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the federal government kind of steps in and does something here. I don't know how to pronounce the name, Hawaii or Huawei, whatever it is, but they're blocking some stuff for them. And tensions are increasingly high between the U.S. and China. Everyone kind of knows that data is gold right now, and there's not regulation. So this might be the thing that just sparks massive regulation on the data side, the digital side, especially as digital consumption continues to go up. So yeah, hopefully there's something that's done that's more than just a fine, which is the fines are a slap on the wrist. So we'll just see. How
many times do I have to say it? Set the rules before you play ball, man. Come on. The reason this is all happening is because the government hasn't set any rules, because they're trying to wrap their heads around what social media even is. Asked Mark Zuckerberg when he was getting probed in Congress, how do you make money? They didn't even understand how a social media company makes money. We need to set rules, but I digress. I'm going to get all red-faced and upset, and nothing's going to change.
Love it.
So getting into our final story, looking at VR, I've been watching the trends in VR, and, we were expecting that the consumption of VR was going to rise through the year 2019, 2020, is going to kind of become something that's standard in everyone's home, is you have a VR headset, just like you have an Xbox or a PlayStation. And especially with the pandemic, we're assuming that, hey, VR gaming is going to, pop off. This is a new way to do things, a deeper experience. That's not the case. I mean, we're seeing the profits still kind of curbing, and people are not really willing to spend more than half an hour in a VR headset, if that. What do you think about VR as a whole in terms of its opportunity to grow and what's stopping it from, breaking through the ceiling?
I think there's tons of opportunity in the space, but I think these VR companies need to listen to the market. It's people aren't willing to have the headsets on for more than a half hour, an hour. They're just uncomfortable. And so if knowing that that's the barrier to success, innovate and figure out a different way to maybe deliver it, whether it's a more comfortable headset or doing it through glasses or contacts or something. But I think everyone can agree, how cool would it be if we all could just sit courtside at a Lakers game when NBA comes back? So, I mean, I think the idea is there. Everyone would love to be there, but it's like, I don't want to wear this big old clunky thing for 3 hours to watch this game. On top of that, I mean, I don't know the price points of these headsets, but I've seen some of them $250, $300. And so it's just, I think that price point is just a little too far out of reach for the average American. And I mean, now would be the time that this would take off because of consumption, but I mean, everyone's looking to cut back on expenses. So I think the pricing is an issue on the headsets, and just how comfortable the headsets actually are the biggest barrier right now to for just explosion in the VR space.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I think you look at it from an AR to VR perspective. We see the trends with Snapchat and filters and Pokemon Go and everything else. Like, AR is something that is less obtrusive, and in because of that, it's being more used than VR. And so if there's a way to make VR less obtrusive, and I know that they're working round the clock on things like the HoloLens and trying to, take this to the next level. But, I think that the marketing doesn't line up with the actual capabilities of the technology. And that can be very damaging, because when people buy it expecting it to do one thing and then it falls short, then word of mouth, they go back to their friends and everybody else and go, listen, this isn't that great. I thought I was going to be like sitting there courtside, but it was blurry, and the connection kept cutting out, and I had to pay $50 extra to get the app. And so it's like, I think right now that consumer experience is really ruining it for them, and it's stopping them from being able to, increase the virality of consumption.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you did mention there is the AR side. I mean, it's growing, but I think there might be some opportunity in VR companies partnering with AR. And it might just be a thing where VR is a huge leap over AR, and doing more AR stuff, the adoption rate will go up, and it's like, oh, this is cool. There's a lot of cool applications for this. And then it'll expedite the education and the knowledge and the adoption of the VR side. So that might be another issue as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you everybody for being here, and thank you for supporting Avantage too. They're an amazing company, definitely helping a lot of small businesses right now to fill their excess capacity. So check them out, Avantage.com. Thank you guys for being supporters of us and what we're doing. If you need to trade a business consulting session for an accounting consulting session, anything that you need, there's somebody on Avantage for you. So check them out. We appreciate their support. And thank you guys for watching the Non-Corporate Network. And this was Fill in the Blank. Again, my name's Chaz Vandemotter.
Dustin Trout.
And we are stoked to have you with us. Don't forget, if you have stories that you come across, if there's a topic that's controversial and you want to hear us talk about it, send it over to us. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. We're working on getting the website up. I promise we're marketers, so we're putting all the marketing together. Thank you guys for being here. And that's about all I got. Dustin, you have any closing thoughts before we let the people get back to anything other than their cubicle day job?
Nope. Rise, grind, repeat. Just make it a good Friday. Get some work done over the weekend, and just keep continuing to do things to just get a little bit better each day.
Yeah, buddy. I love it. Well, good luck to you guys, and we'll be back on Monday bright and early with some more stories for you.
Peace.